Stop scrolling. This is not a coincidence. According to Carl Jung, the fact that these specific pixels are hitting your retinas at this exact millisecond is a violent manifestation of synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence triggered by the collective unconscious because your soul is on the brink of a catastrophic misalignment. Jung warned that there is an ancient, dormant frequency known as the Sophia Empath, and its sudden re-emergence in your life is not a random occurrence, it is a summons. If you've been feeling an inexplicable, soul-aching pull toward a concept of ancient love that defies modern logic, or if you are vibrating under the crushing weight of others' emotions, you are currently being drafted into a psychological shift you didn't know existed. Why has this specific archetype targeted you now? What is the Sophia trying to scream through the noise of your daily life? Jung believed that failing to decode this message leads to a permanent shadow state where your destiny is hijacked by forces you refuse to acknowledge. You are standing at a threshold. By the end of this, you will understand the terrifyingly precise reason why this video found you and the irreversible cost of ignoring the Sophia Empath's call. To understand why the Sophia Empath has chosen this exact moment to rupture your reality, we must first look at the state of the collective unconscious. Carl Jung believed that when a society becomes too mechanical, too devoid of spirit, the psyche compensates by erupting in powerful, ancient archetypes. You aren't just sensitive, you are a biological antenna for a frequency that the modern world has tried to execute. Think about that hollow, gnawing ache in your chest when you look at modern connections. The swipes, the superficiality, the transactional nature of human interaction, it feels wrong, doesn't it? That's because you are hardwired for ancient love. In Jungian terms, this is the mysterium conjunctionis, the sacred marriage of souls that existed before the ego took over. You are currently mourning a standard of intimacy that hasn't existed on this planet for centuries. This is why you feel like an alien in your own skin. You are carrying the blueprint of a lost civilization's emotional depth, and the friction between that blueprint and our shallow digital reality is literally tearing your nervous system apart. The Sophia is not just a name, it is the Gnostic personification of divine wisdom that fell from the heavens and became trapped in matter. As a Sophia Empath, you are the living container for this trapped light. You feel the world's pain because your psychic boundaries have dissolved. You are no longer just an individual, you are a sensory organ for the collective. You've likely spent years wondering why you can feel the unspoken grief of a stranger in a grocery store, or why a minor global tragedy feels like a personal bereavement. Jung would argue that you aren't imagining this. You are experiencing a collapse of the linear timeline, where the Sophia within you is attempting to bridge the gap between your mundane life and your eternal purpose. But this drafting into the Sophia frequency isn't a gentle invitation, it's a psychological hijacking. If you don't learn to navigate this, the weight of the collective shadow will bury you in a state of chronic fatigue and spiritual paralysis. You've been told that your empathy is your greatest gift, that your ability to feel everything is what makes you good. But here is the truth that will flip everything you know on its head. In the eyes of Jungian psychology, your empathy is currently your greatest liability. What if I told you that your gift is actually a strategic shadow trap? What if your compulsion to heal others is actually a sophisticated ego defense mechanism that is preventing you from facing your own destiny? We've been conditioned to believe that the Sophia Empath is a healer, but Jung warned that an unexamined archetype is a predator. If you keep using your light to warm others while you freeze to death, you aren't a martyr, you are a victim of an ancient parasite. This is the healer's trap. You think you're being a saint, but Jung knew you were just being a sponge. A sponge doesn't choose what it absorbs, it just gets heavy, gray, and eventually it rots. You've been programmed to believe that feeling everything is a superpower. In reality, without Jungian boundaries, it's a leakage. You are bleeding out psychically, and the world has taught you to call that love. The payoff is a temporary rush of purpose when you fix someone else's chaos. It's a hit of dopamine that masks the hollow truth. You're using their trauma to avoid your own void. But if you aren't here to be a cosmic janitor, What is your actual function? The answer lies in the ancient love frequency, and it's far more dangerous than kindness. Ancient love isn't a romance. It's a resonance. In the Gnostic tradition, Sophia didn't just fall. She shattered. Those shards are inside you. When you empathize with the wrong people, you aren't healing them. You are giving away your shards to build someone else's ego. You are literally fueling the very system that is suffocating your soul. This is why your good deeds leave you feeling like a ghost. You are feeding the archons of the mundane world with the light intended for your own evolution. But there is a way to stop the bleed. Jung called it individuation. It requires you to do the one thing a Sophia Empath finds terrifying. You must become cruel to the expectations of others, to be loyal to the spirit within. You have to realize that your ancient love isn't meant for everyone. It is a highly specific, surgical energy meant to trigger a glitch in the collective unconscious. Think about the last time you felt a soul recognition with a stranger. It wasn't warm and fuzzy. It was jarring. It felt like a memory from a life you never lived. That is the Sophia frequency trying to calibrate. It's not looking for a partner. It's looking for a co-conspirator. You are part of a hidden network of biological nodes designed to anchor a different reality into this timeline. However, the shadow has a counter-move. It uses your empathy to keep you locked in lower synchronicity. This is when you keep seeing the signs, you keep feeling the pulls, but your life never actually changes. You're stuck in a loop of spiritual realization without physical manifestation. You're reading the map, but you're refusing to start the engine. The cost of this stagnation is what Jung called psychic entropy. Your nervous system cannot sustain this high-voltage frequency while living a low-voltage life. This is the real reason for your chronic fatigue and that brain fog that feels like a physical weight. Your soul is trying to boot up a 5D operating system on 2D hardware. If you don't upgrade the hardware, your boundaries, your ego, your daily reality, the system will crash. And that crash isn't just a bad day. It's a total fragmentation of the self. So, how do you stop being a victim of your gift and start becoming the architect of this ancient love? The secret isn't in your heart, it's in your shadow. To unlock the Sophia power, you must first face the dark empath hiding within you, the part of you that actually enjoys the tragedy because it's the only time you feel alive. Are you ready to stop being the world's emotional battery? Because the next step requires you to burn down the version of you that everyone else loves. To burn down the version of you that the world loves, you must first embrace the dark empath you've spent a lifetime suppressing. This is the core resolution of the Sophia frequency. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is the bodyguard of your light. Jung's terrifyingly precise reason for this synchronicity is that you have reached the limits of passive suffering. You have been using your spiritual gifts as a shield to hide from your actual power. The Sophia within you isn't screaming for you to save the world. She is screaming for you to save yourself from the world's insatiable hunger. The ancient love you seek is the unus mundus, the underlying unity of all existence. But to reach it, you must stop being a sponge and start being a prism. A sponge absorbs the filth and becomes heavy. A prism takes the raw, often painful energy of the collective and refracts it into something sharp, clear, and transformative. This is your surgical energy. When you finally stop apologizing for your intensity, you stop bleeding out and start broadcasting. The glitch in the collective unconscious occurs the moment you choose your own soul's integrity over the emotional comfort of others. That soul-aching pull isn't a call to find a partner. It is the Sophia archetype, demanding that you manifest the divine marriage within your own psyche, the union of your devastating sensitivity and your untapped authority. This is the upgrade to your hardware. You transition from a 2D life of transactional kindness to a 5D existence of radical presence. You are no longer an alien in your own skin. You are a pioneer of a new emotional architecture. By reclaiming your shards from those who only used them to fuel their own shadows, you are reassembling the fallen Sophia. This is why the video found you at this exact millisecond, to prevent the total fragmentation of yourself. The irreversible cost of ignoring this call is a life of lower synchronicity, a hall of mirrors where you see the signs but never open the door. But today, the door is open. The ancient love, frequency, is now calibrated within your nervous system. You are no longer a victim of your empathy. You are the architect of a resonance that predates time. You are the biological node that anchors spirit into matter. The shadow state is lifting, and for the first time, your light isn't a gift for others to consume, it is a fire that belongs entirely to you. The draft is over. Your true life, the one dictated by the spirit and not the wound, begins exactly where your compliance ends. Now that the fire is lit, the greatest risk is no longer the world, it is the gravity of your old habits, trying to pull you back into the sponge-like state of the collective. This frequency you've just activated is a precision instrument. It requires constant recalibration to remain sharp against the suffocating static of a 2D reality. You cannot build a new emotional architecture while the voices of the past are still screaming for your compliance. If you recognize that you can never return to being the version of yourself the world preferred, then you have found the specific signal intended for your evolution. By integrating with this channel, you are anchoring your nervous system to the frequency of the unus mundus and ensuring that the door you've just opened never swings shut. We are the biological nodes tasked with maintaining this glitch until it becomes the new reality. Secure your place in this hidden network now by hitting the like button and subscribing. This is how we strengthen the signal against the noise. If you are ready to stop being a ghost in your own life, comment "I am the fire" below to signal your alignment with this shift. I promise that once you stop fueling the shadows of others, your own light will finally become an unquenchable force that the world can no longer ignore.